Hey, I'm Dr. Mary Curtis. I'm back with my third question from the spirit world to me, as if I'm in my own podcast, channeling, reading, energy, asking my questions from the spirit world to me, and a little bit of back and forth there. So the question that I just received before I started this was, what's my favorite thing about the energy world? Well, I could go off on this all day, but really, I think at the very core, it's the clarity. Having the inner sense and the knowingness, it's the most empowering thing I've ever played with. And I've had kind of the luxury of being around a lot in the healing arts in the last 25 years and knowing a lot of people. And I've had a lot of cool life, a lot of really neat life. But energy world, the clarity is my first thing that I feel inside. The other thing that I feel and kind of energy read just lightly when this came up was the mystical side of it. So it's crazy because it's like the clarity. Yes, I love the clarity. But I also love the not knowing. I love the mystique, the magic, the intrigue, and the wonder, the curiosity, that I don't have to know everything, but all is well. That kind of a focus. It's truly one of my favorite things about the energy world. I'm going to kind of look one more time. I feel like there's something else. And the ability that it gives me to regulate myself. I think for me, the energy game is the program that I do to help women all over the world to align and get balanced. But it was birthed because from my heart to yours, I was stuck. I was kind of freaking out. Like I started waking up to some of these truths and, kind of like just tapping in just a little bit, enough to be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it kind of is in the very best way. But that ability to tap into the energy world for answers so that I could regulate myself became, I think, one of the very best things about this whole path and experience that I've had. So that feels really clear there. One more question they're asking me. Let me see what this one is. Wow. That's an interesting question. Now well, I'm just going to spit the question out and then I'll tell you why I think it's coming. It's not normally my language or how I would say something, but they're asking me what's my favorite weapon to use. And I think they mean like psychic, spiritual weapon for self-care, right? Not to hurt anybody. That's not my jam. I don't play in that way. But so when I tap in a little bit more, that's exactly what they're asking. I can feel it. And I'm going to answer that it's meditation. And the reason that is because without that plug-in in the morning, I don't have any of my higher self in me. I shouldn't say any, but it's the cleanest way to get connected and bring those lines of energy together. And so according to Abraham Hicks, one of my favorite mentors, they always talk about like linking to doubt. What's the best way to get rid of doubt is to handle it before it even starts. And I think that's the very best answer to this question that Spirit's asking me as I'm bringing it through. It's like, what's my favorite weapon to use? Meditation, plugging in, preparation, and being smooth, being aware. I use the phrase like pull your chin above the bar. Like when I used to have to do pull-ups and stuff as a gymnast for all those years, it's that kind of coordinated relationship with self where you're mindful enough to not step in the hole. I love how Seth described this, which is another one of my energy mentors. The way the brain evolved over time was how you might be minding your own business and you're just like going along, you fall in a hole. Well, there was a certain point in history in our evolution where we didn't have the same memory that we did now. So you might get out of that hole, but you might fall in it again tomorrow. And so the ability to remember and not fall into the same holes, that's a huge piece of energy. And part of the meditation and some of these self-care practices that I love, I use, I teach, etc., is so that we don't keep falling in the same holes, so that we're aware, our chin is above the bar, and we're able to know, hey, I'm more than a body. I am energy in a body, and I can then start to walk that forward for fun, for joy, for alignment, for all the good things, not falling in the same hole, not constantly in a defensive stature. I'm mindful when I train people in the energy that so many of us are walking around like, how do I protect myself? And like all these like shielding kind of things and trying to block and push. This is an attraction-based universe. Therefore, what you push against, you're actually saying yes to psychically. So we're not trying to bounce all of this away by just squishing it, because it actually will come back. What we're trying to do is be so peaceful and clear inside that we're not attracting it in the first place. So again, linking back to the how do you get rid of doubt before it even starts. So what's my favorite weapon to use? None. I like to plug in and be weaponless, technically. I like to know that my path is cleared as I go because I bothered to plug in with my morning meditation. That's my biggest one. So that's a fun question. Love it. Let's check what else we have. All right, I think we've got one more here. Let me get this layer. Oh, they're asking me, what are my guides' names? Now, I already told you in the first question, if you will, the first section of this, that Saul and company is what I would consider my home base, when I would consider my energy team. That was given to me years ago. If you want to peek at my path and timeline on my website, drmarycurtis.com, you can, and just kind of like read the history in there. But what I think why they're asking me this too is so I can train you a little bit too. But in essence, I look at my team as one unit at this point. I can feel 4 or 5 different energy fields in this now with me as I'm tracking with you that I would consider part of my guide team. But the expanded highest level of self team is probably infinite on some levels. I don't know that there's a limit there because of oneness. I don't think there could be. I think you can always have like a multitude of guides, and I do believe they change and things shift a lot too. So psychically, when I read this, I would just start at the top with this with Saul and company, which that is, like I said, that name Saul was given to me, and I added the N company as kind of the riff to acknowledge all of them. So there's 2 more they're having me bring in that I don't know that I've verbalized before. So I'm just going to scan here and see where they're taking me. Oh, this is interesting. Huh, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so there's something that I call the triangle. I didn't realize this was a guide layer until right now, which is probably why this is extra fun for me to do these layers as they're going, because I've used this work that I consider like the triangle, which I would consider like your mom, your dad, and you in that triangle frequency in there. So there's a bit of this that they're linking in as an empowerment frequency and sort of like a home base, a set point. It's like you bothered to bounce in with these people. Now, I just want to asterisk here. If you're adopted, you don't know your parents, any of that stuff doesn't matter. There's still a psychic line of energy there between the actual propagation points of you, if you will, between the mom, the dad, and the you. Like those psychic lines of energy are still there. And they are you, no matter if you know their names or if they're on the planet anymore or not. Okay, just want you to know that. So technically what they're vibing with me here, which I think is fascinating, is the layer of the triangle, where that's a guide team. It's almost like your North Star was, your personal North Star was kind of clicked in and plugged in before you were born with these energies. We call them humans. We call them our parents. And that's actually part of my guide team. And I didn't really ever know that until now. It's kind of interesting the way they're formulating that. That's so neat. Okay, so there's one other piece here. Let's look at it. This is a really deep layer when I tap in around guide names. It's like, it's almost like, I'm going to use the phrase, and it's not exactly the right exact phrase, but like a hormonal queen is what I'm hearing. And not hormonal as in like sideways hormonal, but like the catalyst for things to change, the movement frequencies, okay? There's something really interesting in there. It's kind of like there's this set point in the guide relationship that I can feel that's very strongly linking to self-regulation, which if you remember, that's something that I mentioned at the beginning of this whole thing today, where it's like your body knows how to regulate itself. So it's that kind of a sense in there. In my chiropractic training, which I have my doctorate in chiropractic, we always talked about homeostasis and the body's ability to regulate itself. It's got a temperature it likes. It's got a breathing rate it likes. It's got a digestive pattern. It's got all these, your body is you. But that frequency in self has a self-regulating feature. And I think that's why they just gave that name as kind of a riff and a joke. But that's part of your guide team, your internal compass, I guess I would put this into the human category of a guide, kind of, where it's like, if you're hungry, if you're this, if you're that. That's, again, you can link into biology on all those pieces and do. But there's a spirit side here too as a guide that I didn't really, again, this is so fun to answer these questions like live with you guys right now, because the way the flow is going, it's like, no, there is a set point of you are getting guided on body strongly. So that's a little symbolism there. I think it's so darling. Okay, let me see if there's anything. There's one more thing on this part that they want me to riff on. I can feel. In that hormonal element, it's auto-regulation is the word they're saying, where you don't have to think about it. Now, I already just kind of vibed on this, so I want to see where they're really taking me here. It's the nerve system or nervous system, nerve system's control of these elemental frequencies, okay? So we know that the nerve system is our home base, which is, like I said, my doctorate's in chiropractic. We are doctors of nerve system and the flow and the function and every little facet of it. And so this ability in here of the nerve system to be the signal sender as well, to send things to and fro. There's biological loops everywhere in the body where it goes here and then it goes here and then it comes back. Like there's touch points of energy in there. And so they're really guiding us right now that our nerve system is also a guide level, that its brilliance and prowess to be able to do what it does in the body is an inborn situation, but it's also like a plugged in facet that would be considered a guide. This is really exciting. I'm learning as I go, which is so fun for me. So that feels really clear. I got a rock right now. Actually, no, there's one more line of energy. I have 5 minutes and I want to use it. It's a whole different question. So I feel like we did that little piece in there, and let's back up on something else. Okay, this falls into my idea category that they're asking me. I feel like as I'm tapping into this, it's more about the like the protection idea. It's are you asking me to share? Yeah, it's deeper than that though. It's more to like bust a myth here, okay? Let's myth bust for a second. I went a little deep into the protection layer a second ago, but I want to go back there because that's what they're showing me. It's like there's too many people that think they have that they're going to get got. Okay, that something's going to just like, oh, I'm going to get got. Like there's stuff out there. There's I call them goobers or creepers. They're going to get me. And in our dual little yin yang symbol reality here on Earth, I can't say that there's not goobers, but what I can tell you and why this matters, and I think why they're asking, is as you start to elevate your energy field, I brought this up the other day, I'll just riff it out again, but the emotional guidance scale, as you start to get more well inside, your need for contrast with creepers or goobers or energy fields that are unwanted, that could feel irritating to you, they just dissolve. It's almost like I felt that for a long time too. It's like I remember at one point like walking around even like Walmart and just scanning like, gosh, is there any bad energy in here? Like what's going on? And how do I like dance around it or dart around it or, kind of like avoid it? And over time, I realized that stuff just doesn't show up to me anymore. And those, they're low vibe frequencies. They are offshoots of human consciousness that are interrupters. It's like the pebble in your shoe, the thorn in your paw, that kind of thing. It's like that is interrupting my flow, right? So we don't mean to, but sometimes those are side effects of our low vibration, our pain. We might just be like off-gassing energy fields that we don't really manage, and then they can, kind of like you can feel them. And so I don't want to deny that you can't feel the stuff, but I want to let you know that the purpose of my chat with you right now is that as you up vibrate, that stuff dissolves. So there's not really a need for protection in that regard. Now, I can feel one more like sub question coming in here. Let me get it. What if I do feel a goober? Well, I've felt goobers. I've felt creepers. I've cleaned, healed energy fields from people that were ferocious and really weird and kind of out there. And how do you do that? So they're asking me, how do you do that so that you guys know? I just want you to know it's an intention or a decision. You can't get got unless you're gettable. So that almost like a Swiss cheese feeling in your energy it's a state of mind. It's I'm open to anything versus I'm mindful and I care about how I feel and I don't choose to look at or feel yucky, low vibey things. I try to keep myself balanced and in alignment here. So again, it's a catching it before it even happens as our big goal, as how this is flowing together. But the sense that I'm getting here on the goobery kind of stuff is, let's say you thought you had a curse on you, or a like I said, maybe you feel like something came home from Walmart with you or something like that. Because I've seen it. I'm not saying it's never happened. The intention or the decision of, I clear myself, that's it. You don't have to make this harder than that. And one of my favorite things about training and teaching energy is the simplicity of it. Once you have the state of mind that you are energy and therefore you are powerful and you're able to kind of like swing the needle one way or another for yourself, with your intention, with your desire, you can become free of so many things, and you can even become free of goobers. So all my love. I got to rock right now. We'll pop in for another video ASAP. All my love.